Welcome to Bad News with BadBlake. So today we're going to cover a few of the things that have been going on, and honestly, there's a lot to cover. There's too much that's been happening. I've been slacking. I guess I need to start doing these more often because it's like every time I take a few days off, like the world just decides to just go to hell. Literally, it's a satanic agenda being pushed on the masses, and it just continues to happen. So I'm going to start back fighting harder. I'm going to drop more videos. I'm going to be more consecutive. I'm going to work harder. I know that's what needs to be done, and I need to do a better job of doing my part. So tonight, we'll start with the shooting. Biggest news in the U.S. today for about 2 hours. Notice I say that. Only for about 2 hours. So here we have this shooting today, and of course, everyone who was injured and lost their life, my condolences go out to you, absolutely and totally. However, the news, once again, does not care about you. No, no news organization actually gives a shit. That's why they report for 2 hours. Mass shooting, mass shooting, mass shooting, mass shooting. Kansas City Parade. Super Bowl Parade. The great Super Bowl that happened, the best we've ever seen, the biggest scam in U.S. history. Kidding, of course. This could not be the greatest scam in U.S. history because there's too many to count. So, this shooting happens for about 2 hours. News organizations go crazy. They're so worried. They're so concerned. They want to tell everyone what happens. And then videos circulate online of the individuals being arrested, and it's your typical street violence, your typical gang violence that is a problem here in the United States. Of course, because we're the greatest country on earth, right? No, and honestly, I may be being a bit pessimistic, but I've almost came to the conclusion that America totally sucks now. Like, everything here sucks. Inflation is horrible. We have shootings every day. It's an unsafe place to live. You can't go shopping without witnessing someone stealing. Like it literally sucks. Our government, let's talk about the Senate, the great and wonderful branch of government that is the Senate. So our Senate and our House, they spend months and months and months drafting these great plans of how they're going to, I don't know, tackle immigration and provide aid for all these countries and it takes them months to do just for it to be voted down months later. If that is not a charade to you as an American citizen, I don't know what to sit here and say anymore. Do you think it takes months to write down on a piece of paper a bunch of made up numbers that don't exist? Like, we're trillions of dollars in debt. We're giving billions to Ukraine, Israel, anybody who wants to shoot a bomb anywhere, shoot a missile. And you're telling me that it takes months to think of these schemes, to think of this, the amount of money that we need to spend, it takes months to do. It takes these old people, these old ass people, everyone in our Senate. Like, I don't understand who's voting for these people. Like, I'm gonna stop voting at this point. Like, why would I vote for someone over the age of 80 to do anything? You're old. You do not need to be running government. You have a great place in our society, and it is not leading our country. It's just not. People who are sharp on their toes, quick thinkers, young Americans should be leading this country, as were the ones who started our country. Our country was started by young Americans. It should be led by young Americans. We have an age rule of you have to be X amount years old before you can be in Congress or be president. Why? The age of 18, you can go and die for these idiots, these old idiots. You can go die for them at the age of 18. You can go across the world, get hit with a predator missile, hit with a drone strike, and die for these people, yet you can't make the decisions to prevent those deaths. It's a sad world we live in, and it's not a good world by any means. America is no longer a great country. Can Trump make it great again? Hell, I hope so. He's old as well. I'm not against him, nor am I particularly ecstatic for him. Do I think he'll do a better job than Joe Biden? Does he have a lot of people pissed off, and is that a good sign? Absolutely. I will support Donald Trump all the way. But at the same time, he's still another old dude, just another old guy. He's going to run our country. He's going to do what he sees fit with his clouded old judgment. And I don't know. Maybe I'm being pessimistic once again. The world was founded by young people. Young people have always fought the wars throughout history. There's never been an 80-year-old conqueror, a 70-year-old conqueror, nor even a 60-year-old conqueror. It's just not how history works or how the world goes. The only way we're going to see true change is to get young people in power. And our young people are all too busy shooting each other at a parade. But it's not a psyop. The Super Bowl is there for our enjoyment. It makes us better Americans. It brings us closer together with our 8 national anthems we now have. We had a black national anthem at the Super Bowl for the first time ever, and now we have black people shooting each other at the parade. It's like, I'm not against it. You sing whatever fucking song you want. I don't give a shit, personally. Our anthem, what are we celebrating at this point? A bunch of old shitheads that want to send money to foreign governments and blow kids up. So is really neither anthem's that great at the moment. Can that be restored? Absolutely. We need to restore patriotism. We need to be Americans again. And it's just not being done at the moment. And it's because we have 80-year-olds running the country. They're peddling lies. Tucker Carlson just interviewed Vladimir Putin. Anyone with any sense of the world watched the interview. They heard what Putin had to say, and what does our government do? They go, and the very next week they say Putin is an expansionist power. After he said word for word, I'm not an expansionist power. I have no interest in taking Poland. Word for word, what he said. And what does our government do? They sit in the Senate. They say, we need to send this astronomical made-up number to Ukraine for more of their men to die, for Putin to sit there and not give a shit, like he obviously did not in the interview. And that's our idea of a productive government, of what our government should be doing. No money even being attempted for our border. And everyone's like, oh, the Republicans killed it. The Republicans did this. There are no Republicans or no Democrats. Stop saying that. These people overall do not care, with the exception of very few. There's very few people in our government that actually care about anyone. Besides themselves, they all care about themselves. Think about it. If you could send money to a foreign government and get money laundered back to yourself, why wouldn't you? How many county officials and local municipals get state funds and pay themselves? Think about it on a small scale, and then bring that up to a government that's trillions of dollars in debt, writing fake numbers on a piece of paper saying we're going to print $60 billion, we're going to send it to Israel, we're going to send it to Ukraine. We don't even want to be paid back. Make it make sense. So when I roll out with Bad News with BadBlake, my next episode, I'm going to have something special for you. It's going to be great. And we're going to continue doing these. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get a little more consistent with it. I'm going to make sure that I'm on here every night, whether you listen or don't. I'm going to be here in your face, calling out what's going on and what needs to be changed. Why are these things happening? Why don't the Republicans care? Why are these people being voted into power and they're too old to even do anything? You can't run 40 yards. You can't walk up 10 flights of stairs. But you can run our government. You can run a country. You can have access to nuclear codes. Look at Mitch McConnell. He can't even stand at a podium. Joe Biden, I can't even go in on what Joe Biden, I don't know. I don't have a comment at this point. Anyone that can look you in the face and say Joe Biden is competent should be smacked. Simply slap the shit out of him at this point. We're at a point in the world where America's gonna suck. It's in 10 years, this is gonna be the worst place in the world. Are you gonna leave here? Or are you gonna stay here and experience how bad it's gonna be? Majority of us are gonna be stuck. We're gonna be enslaved. We're gonna be here. For no matter how horrible it gets, the majority of Americans will be here to experience it. So my recommendation is we start figuring out how to make a change, and we better figure out how to make it pretty fast. Thank you, and stay classy, everyone.